What's going on, everybody? This is Bryson Teal, and this is my new weekly segment called Top Picks, where I go through new music releases, new finds to keep you in the know, and hopefully introduce you to some new music. This is the video for last Friday, September 22nd, 2017, and there's some new releases, new artists that I haven't heard of before, and I'm really excited about them, and some familiar ones as well. So let's get to it. We have a debut album release by alternative artist and singer Moses Sumney with his project Aromanticism. The Los Angeles-based singer is not a stranger to performing with big acts such as James Blake, Solange, and Sufjan Stevens. However, this album is really putting his name on the map as an original artist and a force to be reckoned with. Aromanticism is a concept record, and in his own words, seeks to interrogate the idea that romance is normative and necessary. On this record, Sumney's voice almost is like a combination of Nina Simone and Frank Ocean, especially as he gets up into his higher register. And some of the tracks on this album are absolutely haunting in the way that he presents himself through his voice, through the music, and is really what has drawn me to this project. There is a track called Doomsday, which is the first one I really locked onto, and it's got just these big pads, just low-key chords happening in the background, and it's just high voice sneaks in and really resolves some of these chords, and it's absolutely beautiful. You can find a music video online of the song as well with really simplistic imagery. It really complements how the song is. And you can find live videos as well of Moses Sumney performing just on piano and with his voice, and it works just as well in that idiom. I really highly recommend checking this out. This is definitely going to be one of those albums that grows on me over time, but I can anticipate this being one of my favorite albums of the year. Another track that really caught my ear was the motion graphics remix of Ryuichi Sakamoto's song Full Moon from his album Async that he released earlier this year. Now, Ryuichi Sakamoto is an electronic-based artist, composer. You might have heard some of his work most recently in the movie The Revenant, if you saw that. But he's active in movies, active in his own electronic work, collaborative work. But what we have with this remix of Full Moon is something really special. Ryuichi Sakamoto's album Async was released post finding out that he had developed cancer in 2014. That went into remission in 2015, and eventually he had time to make his own personal project, and we have this big self-reflection on really a large part of it, finding out that he had a disease that could kill him. And on the track Full Moon, you can hear voices in different languages talking about how many chances we have left to recall a memory and how very little chances we have in general in our lifetime to experience those memories. It's just absolute honesty at its purest, explaining his inner feelings in the way that he knows how. And this motion graphics remix kind of strips away a lot of the speaking, but gives this huge potential for space. And he uses samples of strings, staccato strings, really massive synths come together to fill in that space. And it's a really, really great representation that I think Ryuichi Sakamoto has to be pretty happy with to hear. Again, check out Ryuichi Sakamoto's album Async. Check out Motion Graphics albums as well. They're all really great, both phenomenal artists. Maybe more for you if you're in the electronic medium. Definitely one of my favorite composers, so big ups on this. Another massive release this past Friday was Rapsody's album Layla's Wisdom. Rapsody is a hip-hop artist and holds her own as one of the best in the game. Most people might have been introduced to Rapsody on Kendrick Lamar's project To Pimp a Butterfly on the track Complexion, parentheses, A Zulu Love. Layla's Wisdom comes through with great production with producers like Ninth Wonder, Terrace Martin, Young Guru, and also features artists such as Black Thought, Kendrick Lamar, Amber Navran and Moonchild, BJ the Chicago Kid, Anderson .Paak, Busta Rhymes, the list goes on. The track that first caught my attention was Power, featuring Kendrick Lamar and Lance Skywalker. And this beat is incredibly hard, produced by the amazing Ninth Wonder. You can tell that there was a high bar set for this track, of course, featuring Kendrick Lamar, brings in a lot of people, but this beat kind of mirrors some vibes of Good Kid, Mad City a little bit. Kendrick Lamar holding himself to a high standard, one of the better verses even in relation to his most recent album, Damn, and Rapsody holds her own as well, and the collaboration works just as well as Complexion did on To Pimp a Butterfly. All in all, this will probably be one of my top 10 albums in the hip-hop genre of 2017. There's a few other projects I want to give quick shout-outs to. The first one is a new EP by Werkha for All Hands. This EP is definitely a little jazz influence, West African rhythm built in, and he is signed to the label True Thoughts, which is the same label that Moonchild is from, and you can kind of tell what the vibe of the label is from those two artists, being influences from jazz, R&B, and soul, all that stuff. But Werkha's new project comes out strong with these really strong instrumentals, sample-based. On the second track, we kind of get a more upbeat Flying Lotus type vibe, and we get comparisons with Werkha to people like James Blake, but I really don't see it that much. Just because they use similar sounds from the Prophet '08 synthesizer doesn't mean they're so alike in their creativity and their artistry. But I think he's really going to be someone that starts popping in the near future. So definitely check out his music, check out his past projects. I'm going to be checking those out this week. Next thing, real quick, is a techno artist, Sama, and there's a new single release that they put out called Existence. There's actually 3 tracks. I really kind of gravitated toward this because of some sounds that sound as if they're influenced by Burial, and it kind of got me more familiar with the idea of techno music. And obviously, I'm sure it gets way deeper, but I think it'll be something I can start exploring with this single release in mind. And a big one, it's not really new, but it's a single release with the Higher Brothers trap outfit from China, featuring Joji. Now, I'm not really a major fan of trap music, especially in America, but for some reason, all these trap artists from Asia, I think are hard as Chinese, Japanese, and South Korean artists, I think are way more interesting because of the rhythmic structure and phrasing they're allowed to employ with the structure of their language. And I think the way they approach, especially rhythm, is way more interesting, more inventive, and it makes even the most ridiculous subject matter cool to me. And they're featuring the man Joji. You may know him as Filthy Frank, Pink Guy, or the originator of the YouTube sensation of the Harlem Shake. The Higher Brothers, Keith Ape, Ko, Rich Chiga, all these artists coming from 88 Rising, I think are doing awesome things. Even though they're influenced a lot by the culture of the West, I think they're doing better than a lot of the artists that are over here. But that's all for this week. Just a few new artists to get you guys started off. And I'll be back next Tuesday with some new artists and some new releases.